Ba-da-bum, 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 bum, ba. Ba-da-bum, 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 bum, ba, 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 ba.
All right, Week 11 NFL. I'm fired up. I just got rid of Leveon Bell in my Dynasty League. I traded him and Mike Evans for James Conner and Cortland Sutton. And then I swapped my third and first round picks in 2020, but who cares about that? Draft picks in Dynasty, I don't know how valuable they are, to be quite honest with you. So I figured, you know what, whatever. He can have my first, I'll take his third, whatever. I got Connor and I got Sutton now. I think Sutton's about to blow up, be the number one receiver for Denver. And obviously Connor's now the guy in Pittsburgh. So now I can stop talking about Le'Veon Bell and whatever the hell he does, good for him. But let's talk about people who actually play football. We'll start off with the Thursday night game, Green Bay at Seattle. My kids are fired up for this one because it's the Fail Mary rematch, and I don't know if they just think that Fail Mary is a funny word, but this is gonna be a big game. Obviously, two teams battling for playoffs, this is a tough game. Seattle's a tough place to play. Green Bay's the better team. And I tell you what, if Aaron Jones starts playing like this consistently, Green Bay gonna move right up there very very quickly. I know that they're right in the middle right now, but I tell you what, I like what this Aaron Jones is doing. But this is gonna be a nice shootout game. It could go either way. But man, I'm gonna take Aaron Rodgers in this one. I like Green Bay to go up there and beat Seattle in this one. So let's move to Sunday. The early games, you get Cowboys in Atlanta. Cowboys saved their season last Sunday night in Philadelphia. So now they have to save their season again this Sunday, which is basically a wild card elimination game or a playoff contender elimination game because Atlanta's sitting right there at 4-5, but they're not that good. And they lost to the Browns last week. Which actually wasn't all that surprising, to be honest with you. But, listen, Cowboys defense back to playing well. Maybe that Tennessee game is a hiccup. The offense picked it up finally. Amari Cooper's been solid. And, of course, I'm going to take the Cowboys because, come on. Take the Cowboys. Cowboys will win that game. Then we got Carolina at Detroit. Detroit's kind of falling off here. I don't know what's going on with them. And Carolina's had 10 days to stew after getting a 52-piece dropped on them last Thursday in Pittsburgh. I don't know what happened there, but and then somehow Christian McCaffrey still scored like 30 fantasy points. But you know what I mean. But I think I'll take Carolina win this game. Because they're a playoff team. They're not going to catch New Orleans, but they'll probably be the number one wild card. Be the 5 seed coming out of the NFC. So I'm going to take Carolina win that game. And then you get Tennessee and Indianapolis, the suddenly awesome Tennessee Titans who were, mediocre at best for the first, 8-9 weeks. And now suddenly, you get a big win, 2 weeks ago, Monday night in Dallas, and then just took apart the Patriots. Again, they're in contention now. You got to take them seriously. They're in the hunt to win the division, or maybe get a wild card. And in Indianapolis, they're a team. Listen, they'll be in games, but they're not a team you can trust to do anything week to week. You get a struggling Jacksonville team. I know Fournette was back last week, but. They almost let that struggling Jacksonville team win that game. I'm not going to trust the Colts here, and the Tennessee Titans are playing well. I know they're probably due for a letdown after a big win against New England, but I think the Colts are shaky enough where Tennessee can take care of the business and keep making some noise here, AFC. You got Tampa at the Giants. This game means nothing. Two teams, playing out the string. Two teams with very shaky quarterback futures. Eli Manning, probably playing his last games for the Giants. And then, who knows what's going on in Tampa. I mean, Winston's done. And, Fitzpatrick can only, be there for so long. I mean, at some point that's going to completely run out. But, who cares to win this game? I'll take the Giants. I don't take the Giants to do anything, but you know what? I'm feeling good this week because I got rid of Leveon Bell. So, I'll take the Giants this week to win this game. Let's mix it up a little. Houston at Washington. Division leaders, Houston and Washington, squaring off in the nation's capital. The Redskins, boy, I tell you what, Tampa gained like 500 yards last week, and they scored 3 points, which, like, I saw a stat somewhere, like, that is by far the most yards gained while only scoring 3 points or less in, like, the history of the NFL. Like, I kept flipping back to that game, and, like, Tampa would be, like, in the red zone, and then, like, I would flip to another game, and then it would be like, well, wait a minute, they still have 3 points. Like, what happened? Like, why is Tampa not scoring any points? And then it dawned on me that they just kept turning the ball over and missing field goals, and Washington. I got a buddy who's a Redskin fan, longtime Redskin fan. He's like, this team's fraud. This team is a fraud. Don't buy into the 6-3 record. And he's right. That's a garbage win against Tampa. And I know a win's a win, but you're not going to win games when you're giving up 500 yards and hope that the other team scores 3 points. Houston's coming off the bye. I just traded for DeAndre Hopkins in my New York City league. Houston's going to light it up here. I'm going to take the Texans. Pittsburgh at Jacksonville. Look out for Pittsburgh now. Now that the Bell thing is done, now it's just now they've put it behind them. Connor's proven himself to be the real deal here. Pittsburgh owes Jacksonville some payback for that playoff game last year. So I know they're thinking about that. The Jaguars are struggling. This is kind of a lost season for them. I like Pittsburgh to win this game easy against Jaguars this week because now they got that Le'Veon thing is done now, and then they know that they can move on. So I'm gonna take Steelers. Cincinnati at Baltimore. The two teams headed in the wrong direction. Again, early in the season, it looked like they might be contenders for the division. Pittsburgh's going to win the AFC North, and these two teams are just going to. They'll probably both finish 7-9, 6-10, somewhere in that neighborhood. I'll take the Ravens because they're coming off the bye, and the Bengals are coming off basically a bye where they gave up 51 points because they really didn't show up last week. Except they weren't scheduled off. So I'll take the Ravens, but who cares? These teams are going nowhere. Speaking of two teams going nowhere, we go to late Sunday afternoon. You get Oakland and Arizona. Cardinals defense, the hot pickup in fantasy, just because they're playing the Raiders, who can't do anything. They can't score. They can't move the ball. They can't. I don't know. Listen, they're a mess. They're a tremendous mess. The Cardinals are a mess, but they're playing better. They're trying to be competitive. Their defense can, at least they only held the Chiefs to what they hold to 27 points last week. So, Arizona will win this game, but Rays are getting the number 1 pick next year. Denver at the Chargers. Boy, I tell you what, if the Chargers weren't in that division with the Chiefs, we'd be talking about the Chargers as a Super Bowl contender. They're still flying under the radar here at 7-2, 8, whatever they are. And listen, they're going to end up being probably the top wild card in the AFC unless they can catch the Chiefs. But of course, Chiefs already beat them there, so they have to beat the Chiefs later in the season if they have any chance to win the division. But Denver's gonna scrap here, and this could be a trap game for the Chargers. But I'm gonna take the Chargers to win this game because I still think Denver has enough offense to keep up with them. Philly at New Orleans, last late Sunday afternoon game. Philly. Listen. Philly won the Super Bowl last year. Congratulations. But again, as I said last year, and as I've said multiple times this year, you won the Super Bowl because of the Minneapolis Miracle. Because if Stephon Diggs doesn't make that play, New Orleans goes up there and beats you the week after. New Orleans goes to the Super Bowl. New Orleans probably going to the Super Bowl this year, but at least Philly's going to get a taste now. What would have happened if Stephon Diggs doesn't make that play last year in the playoffs? And I'm going to take New Orleans to win this game. Sunday night, Minnesota at Chicago. Ooh, the Bears looking good. I mean, this. I think this is it as far as this game. Whoever wins this game is going to win the NFC North. I know the Packers can still make a run here and get back in it, but whoever wins this game, I think, is going to win the NFC North. You gotta love what you've seen out of Chicago's offense. You can basically start any one of their players in fantasy. From their top 3 receivers, both their running backs. Mitch Trubisky, putting up a lot of points. You can start their defense. You could probably start their head coach if there's a head coach fantasy league somewhere. I'm gonna take Chicago to win this game. I think this is gonna be a tough spot for Minnesota because the Bears are playing well. Chicago's fired up for this team like they haven't been in a while, and I just like where the Bears are headed right now. So I'm gonna take the Bears. And then the game of the year, which was supposed to be in Mexico City, and then they couldn't get the stadium feel right. So the NFL's like, all right, why don't we move it to Los Angeles? And then there you go. When that's where it was, should have been held anyway. But they decided to play a game in Mexico. But you got to get your field in order. I mean, come on. I mean, the NFL's putting $1 zillion to play one game in your stadium. Like, come on, like get the field ready. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But you get 2 9-1 teams. The 2 best records to meet this late. Since that fabled 1990 Giants 49ers game. And this is going to be the opposite of that game because if you old people out there, you remember that the 49ers won that game 7-3 back in 1990 when those teams were 10-1. These teams are coming in 9-1, and it's going to be the opposite. It'll probably be 47-43, something ridiculous. I don't know who to pick in this game, to be honest with you. This could be a Super Bowl preview, and man, I tell you, this would be some Super Bowl if these 2 teams could get there. I don't know that they will, but this is definitely the biggest game in the regular season so far. Fantasy matchups galore. I'm gonna take. Wow, I really don't know who to take in this game. I'm gonna close my eyes and say that the Rams win this game. I didn't close my eyes really there, but I'm gonna say the Rams win this game. But I could definitely see Mahomes stepping it up here, and I mean it's gonna be a great game. Finally we're gonna have like a Monday night game like that's like important. Like it just seems like. Ever since Sunday Night Football, NBC took that over, 10, 12 years ago, whenever it was, like I can't remember, like, the last, like, really big Monday night game. It seems like almost every week, you have, like, a big Sunday night game. And, Phil's has been watching football for a long time. Like, Monday Night Football used to be the marquee game. And the NFL got away with that when they switched it to Sunday night. So it's nice to have a big, important Monday night game that everyone's fired up with. It's going to garner a lot of national interest. So, all right, I'm talking too much. Rams are going to win that game. You got a bunch of garbage teams off. Basically, the AFC East and the 49ers and the Browns are out this week. Patriots need to get healthy because they got to get their act together after dropping a bomb in Tennessee. So, all right, so we'll be up early Sunday to get this Cowboy game going. So we'll get some yelling and screaming there, and there you go, Week 11.